Mia Khalifa is a political activist, but she's also a porn lady. I don't know if she still does porn or if she only previously did porn, but she has all sorts of opinions that are not very good. And she spouts off on politics sometimes. And she's just given her worst opinion yet.
So what this is that there's a lady, Mia Khalifa, something like that. Evidently used to be a huge porn star.
Okay.
I have no idea who this chick is.
Like Debbie Does Dallas?
Yeah, but I didn't know who Debbie was either. I'm trying to think if I ever knew any porn stars' names. Anyway, so she's giving marriage advice, and so is a lot of people are upset saying that she's not qualified to give marriage advice just because of her past job history or past life experiences. And to be honest with you, for me, I don't see a problem with it. It seems like there's a lot of men that are telling her that or saying that she is not qualified because she was an adult actress. The advice she's given, I don't know. It's a wee bit controversial, but still, I mean, she's been married. A lot of people haven't been married before, but then they'll try to tell other people how they should be married. And so I always kind of find that a little bit, funny. But anyway.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If she had been married after kind of living that life, or while living it, I mean, I think that says a lot. Like, you have to be pretty good at your marriage if you could overcome something like that.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if she overcame it, so that's the advice that she's given. So I know you haven't seen the video, so I'll let you see the video, and then I'll let you talk about it afterwards.
This is her opinion on divorce.
Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork. It's something, it's a commitment you make to someone. But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go. I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is your life. Do you want to be stuck with someone? Period.
So not great advice.
I mean, what do you think about that?
I think it's more than paperwork.
Yeah.
But I do agree that if you're trying and trying and trying and you're really just not happy, and you're both not happy, I think that at some point it is okay if you've tried everything you can try to kind of just move on so you both can be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that point. The thing for me is that I think it's twofold. Do you think marriage is sanctimonious? Here's the thing. I think for some people it is, and I think for other people it is just paperwork. Because here's the thing. If you're not in a church like that, then it's just paperwork.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? If you are of a religion or something like that, then it might be, sanctimonious. So the thing is that marriage is one of those things that I feel is, a certain way depending on what your, religious faith may be or what your religious faith may not be. And so I see a lot of religious people trying to sometimes, tell non-religious people, which, be honest with you, if she's in adult movies or been in adult movies, she's probably not too religious. And so they're trying to tell her how to do marriage. But the thing is that marriage is one of those things that it is kind of state ordained now. And so in order to get a lot of, different benefits, tax, not benefits, but just tax things and then end of life things. And then there's a whole lot of things that go on with having that legal document of paperwork. Is that, listen, I mean, it is, I can see it both ways. Ultimately, the problem I do have is this. I think marriage is one of those things, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that people expect you to get it right the first time. And in most things in life, you actually have a degree of failure. I put it in the realm of college. When you go to college, when you're 18, 19, 20, and you take out these student loans for, 30, 40, 50, 60, sometimes $200,000, they expect you to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And when you're in your early 20s and you meet someone, or you've met someone when you're, in your teenage years, met someone in high school, and you really haven't had that much, life experience, is that people are expecting you to be with this person forever.
Right.
And so there's a lot of change that goes on in your 20s. There's a lot of change from the age of 20 to the age of 25, there's a lot of change that goes on in people's lives. From the age of
Right.
25 to the age of 30, there's a lot of change that goes on in people's life.
And then that first baby for the ones that do have a child. I mean, that's rough. I mean, I don't know what the solution is there, but I do think that a lot of people who get married, whether they get married too young or what, I don't think that they talk about the future. They don't talk about goals. They don't talk about where they want to be in 20 years. They don't talk about, you know, how they want to live money-wise, budgeting, where they want to live, how long they want to work. And I think that that's ultimately, I think people just start going down wrong path, like different paths.
And it may not be wrong paths, but the thing is that people change. I mean, some people, here's the thing, some people never change. Some people stay the same, you know, whether they're 20 to 45, 50. I know some of these people, but there are some people that are constantly changing, that are constantly wanting to explore, that constantly want to, you know what I'm saying, they're evolving. And the thing is that if you're with a partner that doesn't do that, and you're, you know, a certain way at 20, but then you're a different way at 30, but the person that you married is the same person that you met when you were 20, I can see in your 30, I can see how there could be, you know.
If they don't want to try different things or try to change it all.
And sometimes, like you said, you just don't know where life is going to take you.
We take advice from people who have no credibility on these issues. We've just lost our sense of authority.
I see a lot of people being critical, you know, of her because of the industry that she went into. And that is fair game. That is, listen, it's perfectly fair to be critical of life choices that somebody has made. But the thing is that somebody chose to be with her twice, to marry her twice.
Almost 3 times.
Almost 3 times.
Actually, they did. She walked away, apparently.
And so to say that she can't speak on marriage, because marriage is not just this sanctimonious thing. It's not now, because everyone gets married. And so if marriage is being shared by people who are religious versus people who are non-religious, I think even the people that do whatever they want to do.
I feel like the religion part of it is just one thing that you have in common, that you both, it's kind of like we like to ride a bike or a boat. It's something we have in common. It's something that could help keep us together, something we can fall back on if we start to go, you know, in different directions. We have stuff in common that you always can do together to try to, you know, get the closeness back. So I don't think that anything is like sanctimonious or sanctioned by God like that. I mean, they might believe it is, but I think it's just a common interest that they both, I mean, I don't know. That's just what I think.
Generally speaking, probably not the wisest thing to take advice on marriage from a prostitute or even forget the prostitute for a second. Probably best not to take advice on marriage from people who have had multiple failed marriages.
I don't know how to say this and not seem critical, but I guess it can be critical. One of the things that I don't too much like a lot of times is that I feel like religious people can be some of the most critical people of everything. I do. I feel like religious people always are pointing fingers at people that are not religious. And the thing is that, you know, if you're pointing fingers at people and you're always being completely critical of others because it's like, holy thou art I and going to hell are you. To be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why I don't particularly kind of like going to church as much anymore.
I feel like they're closed-minded. I think that's the problem. They believe what they believe, and you can't, like, that's it.
There are legitimate authorities to whom we should listen. Our parents, wise teachers, the traditions that have endured throughout the ages, the moral law, the natural law, the church. You're going to follow good, wise, just, prudent, legitimate authorities, or you're going to listen to your own extremely imperfect moral reasoning with your very imperfect faculties of reason, or you're going to listen to people who have no credibility at all, like porn people. On marriage,
if you want marriage to be a certain way, that's perfectly fine. If you want marriage to be a certain way within, you know, your religion, the thing is to say that somebody's unqualified to give marriage advice when, if you really get close to a lot of people who are in the Christian faith sometimes, is that they're not happy. They won't say it, but if you've been around and you've seen a lot of couples and you've seen a lot of couples growing up, it's like it is that thing. It's like just endure through it. It's like you married this person, so you just need to stick with it through thick or thin and things like that. And a lot of kids grew up seeing that with their parents, and honestly, just like, listen, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to do that.
And that's
It's like-
why your parents aren't always the best people to give you advice on everything.
And sometimes the church isn't the best advice because the thing is that. Listen, one of the things I've always thought about, growing up in church is that once you grow up in church and you get married in church, it's almost like you feel like you get this book of things that you can't do.
Oh, yeah.
you get this whole pamphlet of things you can't do. You can't go out no more. You can't do this. This is of the devil. This is of the devil.
Well, everything that they talk about kind of sticks that in there a little bit. They don't come right out and say it, but they tell stories about what happens to people who do stuff like that.
And so, listen, that is for some people, but that's not for everyone. And the thing is, like I said, you do have some people that are getting married because they want to form a union with someone. And does that union always work out? No, it doesn't always work out within the church atmosphere either. But the thing is that you're chastised within the church atmosphere for wanting or trying to live your life and get divorced. The thing is that, to be honest with you, most people only have one life. Most people, depending on what religion you are. And so if you only have one life, do you want to live your life a certain way and just honestly not get the most out of your life?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the advice that she's given is completely correct, but it does have something to say, if you're in a relationship and you are trying to make a relationship work and the other partner isn't trying, and we don't know what the ins and outs of what her relationships were, but if you're trying to why not actually cut their tie and move on? Because people do change. And the thing that people don't, listen, I feel like I'm a marriage counselor sometimes. And so, you don't know, but this week, listen, I have a lot of people around me. I have sat in meetings this week, and I have explained to quite a few people this week, because outside looking in, a lot of people think that our relationship is kind of perfect. And it's not. When I say that it's not, is that we have disagreements about things multiple times a week. We don't have arguments.
Yeah, we don't argue, but we don't agree on
we
everything.
Don't agree. No, we don't agree on everything. And we have.
And you shouldn't.
And we have passionate disagreements about things. But the thing is that I
don't know if it's every week, but
we have disagreements every week.
There you go. This is why.
See, we have a disagreement right now. This is one right now. But what I'm saying is that I had someone that was another guy, and he's actually older than I am, and him and his wife were going back and forth about something. And honestly, I was telling him, I was like, listen, man, it's like, I know, listen, what you're going through is no different from what me and my lady goes through. I said, the difference is that most people don't see it because we do it behind closed doors. The thing is that they don't tell you and don't teach you how to have disagreements, because you're not gonna see eye to eye. You're not gonna see commonalities with the person all the time. Listen, we can disagree just on simple things about what we're gonna eat. Mm-hmm. We can disagree, and we can have a passionate disagreement, because even with that, I'll be like, she'll ask me sometimes, she's like, what do you want to eat? I don't know. I don't have a taste for anything. Then she's like, all right, well, let's go get this. I don't want that. All right, well, let's go get this. I don't want that though. So you said you didn't have a taste for anything. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that can cause disagreements in relationships. But the thing is that when you're in your 20s, and when you're in your mid-20s, and when you're in your 30s, a lot of times you haven't had enough life experience to know how to overcome those little disagreements. And those little disagreements can start piling up. And they can start piling up to where they're little molehills, to where they start piling up to being little mountains, and then they become bigger mountains, and they become things that are bigger, too big for people to say that they can get over.
Right.
And listen, it took me a long time. It took me a long time to understand, is like, listen, where do I want my outcome to be? And that's what I tell a lot of people right now, is that, listen, we may have a disagreement, but ultimately, what do we want our outcome to be? Do we want to have a good day, or do I want to hold this in and have this disagreement all day? I do a lot of apologizing now. Now, I still don't apologize as quickly as I should sometimes, but I do a lot of apologizing now, because the thing is
both do, though.
Yeah, we both do. But ultimately, I'm saying this to say that. I'm saying that to say this. Is that I think everybody's, experience in marriage is different. I think regardless of whether you're in the church, or regardless of whether you're some sort of religious, or if you're non-religious, everyone has the same experiences to a degree within marriage. They're going to have disagreements. And depending on how those people choose to figure out those disagreements depends on how their, marriage or their relationship is going to evolve continue to evolve or to stop evolving. If you have one partner that chooses to not evolve with the other partner, chooses to leave their feet stuck in the mud, is that you're going to have problems, just inside church or outside the church. And so to say this lady does not have the authority or yada yada to speak on marriage, I think is a little crude. Even though she's had some past life experiences that for most people, I would say for me, will be not really desirable for me to marry somebody that's like that, that's been in the adult industry. But somebody is choosing to marry her. You know what I'm saying? And multiple people are choosing to marry her.
It could also be that she's just not capable of committing to one person.
And that could be the problem too. And we don't know what the problem is. But I think
And I'm not saying like sexually. I'm just like, just she might need that attention from other men, like because she's constantly had it,
And
texting, talking, flirting, whatever. I don't know.
And that may be the issue too. But still, people who are religious and people who are in church do have these same problems also. And if you think that they don't, you should go to church for a little while and you'll find out. But ultimately, people get down on marriage, but I do believe in marriage. And honestly, I do believe in Christianity. And I have seen the ups and downs of, what I call quote unquote religion coming up in a religious family. And there's nothing but wrong with religion, but I have seen the other side where people who are religious are very, very critical. Very, very critical. And listen, they do have their right to be, but at the same time, it's like, I think you're not attracting a lot of people to, your cause when you're being so critical about things.
Yeah. It's kind of like, don't tell me unless I ask.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you can have your opinion.
You can have it, but don't give it to me unless I ask for it.
Is she probably going to have a difficult time finding somebody that's going, a partner because of her past life experiences? Probably, most likely. But is it possible? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, listen, I'm not...
She just limits her options. It's like the 20-year-old that thinks it's a good idea to get a tattoo right smack in the middle of their face.
Or, it's like...
Somebody might be attracted to that, but not everybody. So you limit your options.